Camp Stevens recognizes that we are operating on Treaty 3 territory, the land of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and Métis of Turtle Island. Treaty 3 was signed in 1873 by the Ojibwe people to share the land with the European newcomers in peace and harmony. The treaty was officialized verbally in English, in a language that was not spoken by the Ojibwe signatories. Descendants of the signatories are still fighting for the treaty promises that are to be upheld today. We are grateful to be able to operate and work on this land, and we recognize our privilege to do so.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Camp Stevens. We are in Lake of the Woods, Ontario, which is just outside of Kenora, Ontario, which is Treaty 3 land. And we are here at Camp Stevens to learn a few more paper planes, fancy paper planes for the distinguished, professional, that sort of thing. So today we're gonna make today we're gonna make 2 paper planes and then 1 helicopter. It's gonna be really cool. But before we start, I have a riddle. You guys want the riddle? Okay, here it is. Before Mount Everest was discovered, what was the tallest mountain in the world? Okay, think on that. I'll give you the answer at the end of our lovely presentation today. So today we're gonna make this little plane. It's called the STINGRAY. It's just cool looking. Look at this thing. It's amazing. We're gonna make this plane, as I said yesterday, theoretically you can get this plane to bounce. You can bounce it off a table or off of the floor or off someone's forehead if you ask them very nicely. Don't do that. And we got a helicopter. And this isn't a paper plane at all, but it's fun to drop from a high height because it will spin and it'll be really neat. I'll show you that in a second. So thanks for tuning in to Camp Stevens Paper Planes Origami. I don't know what it's called. It's fun. Who cares? Here we go. Our first plane of the day, it's called the Bouncer. It's called the Bouncer because technically this plane should be able to land on a surface and then bounce and then keep flying. Now that requires a lot of skill from the thrower, but as you'll see, this is a plane, it kind of looks like our stunt bat from last week, but it has legs. This is a plane with legs, folks. It's got landing gear. So if you throw it just right, you should be able to bounce it off a table and have it keep flying, bounce it off the floor, have it keep flying. It's really neat, and it's fun to look at too. It's a cool looking plane. So you get your standard piece of paper, just like we have. Again, make sure you get your paper from the recycling bin. I'm only using fresh paper just because it's easier to see what folds are happening. But please always use just scrap pieces of paper that are lying around, because there's always some lying around somewhere. You see your parents throwing out a piece of paper, you can be like, hey, I'm gonna make a plane out of that. Pass that over here. But then of course, when you're done with the plane, make sure it goes back in the recycling bin. We always recycle here, us paper plane makers. So, we got our basic paper plane. Now, we're gonna grab the corner, fold it over here, just like we did with our stunt bat last week. But, here's the difference. We're gonna open it back up. What? And then you should see a nice crease there. And then you're gonna grab the other corner and fold it along. Oh, I didn't like that. I missed, guys. I didn't make a perfect point. I'm gonna do it again. Ooh. There, that's a little better. All right. So we're gonna see this fold a few times on our paper plane journey. We'll call it the accordion fold. But you have your X there. Does everybody see that X? Hopefully it catches on the camera. Now you're gonna turn it upside down and you're gonna fold the X backwards into itself so that it matches up with itself perfectly. And then if you aced it, then you should have 1, 2, 3 creases on your piece of paper that are all meeting right in the center here. You're gonna take your index finger and just poke it right here. Poke! And if everything goes according to plan, you can grab these sides here where your middle crease is and just push them together and then down onto the paper, a little accordion fold, and then flatten it out real nice. So it should look like a house like it did with our stunt bed, but the difference is you got two little flaps here, and we're gonna have fun with those flaps in just a second. So our next step, this is a bit of a tricky fold, so stay with me here. We're gonna grab the front of the bottom of our roof of our house, and then we're gonna fold it up. Now, when you do that, you're gonna find that you got these little pieces of paper trying to prevent you from folding it up. Well, we fold it up anyways, and we flatten that down. So you should have two little triangles right there. And then this long little piece here, which we're gonna make our legs out of. Next thing you do, flip it over, and we're gonna fold our nose back behind itself. So you can see we want it to line up right with here. So you might have to like hold it up to the light and see where exactly that is. But it doesn't have to be perfect. But that's how it should look right now. Pretty cool. Then we are going to make a plane out of it. So fold it in half. And when you fold it in half, you see these parts still sticking up. Now, when you're folding your wings over, it's got a little cheat sheet, because if you fold it right where this line of this triangle is, it's gonna be perfect. And that way you can match it on both sides equally. All right. So we're looking like this right now, but we have our little legs that we want to fold. So to make our legs, we're gonna grab one leg and we're gonna fold it so it just touches the fuselage. And then hopefully you can see that there. And then we are going to make feet by folding it back right up on itself like that. And then unfold it, and look, we got a little leg. And we can do that on both sides. Touch the edge, fold it back up. Look at that. So we got a little plane and we got legs. Now to help with the this plane, I'm gonna add some winglets, because this plane, it's got a lot of weight up front, so it's not always the most stable. So I would recommend putting on some winglets and maybe put on some flaps. So, because last time I threw this one, it had a tendency to dive on me. So this one, I'm gonna add some flaps. So it has a little bit of lift. It's gonna change the pitch of the plane. Got a little bit of lift. So technically when I throw this, again, it takes a lot of skill, but you should be able to land it on a smooth surface. Tablecloth won't work as well. Something slippery like hardwood or just a regular table. It should be able to land, bounce, and keep going. Takes a lot of skill. Give it a shot. All right, our next plane for today is called the STINGRAY. And I like this plane. This has always been one of my favorites. I told you last week my favorite plane was the stunt bat. I like this one because this is my favorite straight flyer, because it flies, it's built for speed, folks. It goes straight. It's just kind of like your regular paper plane, but it looks cooler. And that is half the battle, folks. Always got to have paper planes that look cool. So you get your regular piece of paper, fold her in half. Open her up. You're gonna start off just by making your standard plane. So you're gonna fold down these corner flaps, standard old paper plane, and then you're gonna fold more flaps over. And you're gonna stop there, because this plane isn't just your regular normal paper plane. This one is at least 20% cooler than your regular normal paper plane. So you got it right there, your normal part. Now, instead of just folding together and making the wings, we're gonna do a little bit of some fancy paper jazz here. We're gonna take this nose down, and we're gonna touch your butt. Touch the butt of the plane. I don't think that's the proper terminology of the plane. I don't think planes have butts, but here we are. So there, touching the butt of the plane, but then we want to fold it back up. All right, so this is what you should have. It's kind of like a regular paper plane, maybe like crashed into something and it's head folded in. But we're gonna make it a little bit cooler. Now this is a bit of a tricky fold, so stay with me. We're gonna grab this edge of the nose here and we're gonna fold it over so that it touches this line. Right, exactly. Now, as we did with our jumper here, there is a part of the plane that is going to prevent you from wanting to do that. So what you do, you fold it over, and then you just kind of smush this part down, and it's going to make kind of a pocket. Does everyone see that there? So there you go. And you can do that with the other side. So it's kind of an accordion style fold. But it looks fantastic. Oh, did I get my creases right? I may have messed one up somewhere. Doesn't have to be too beautiful. So now it is extra pointy. So you're just making this nose even pointier. This is a great plane to not throw at people's eyes. Make sure you're throwing away from your brothers and sisters or your friends, and especially your parents. There you go. So now we're gonna take it and we're gonna make a plane out of it. So fold her in half. And then right where this, where the nose meets, that is a good guidance line to where the wing should be. And my friends, there you go. This one is a pretty good flyer. It'll go straight, but again, you can always add a few modifications. You could add the winglets, you could add some flaps, you could add a keel. It's a great little plane to throw. Goes nice and far, nice and straight, nice and fast. It's called the Stingray. Okay, last plane we're gonna make today is not a plane. Not a plane. We're gonna make a helicopter. So this isn't a paper plane, it's just something fun to do. It's a good thing to do if you have just a little strip of paper. Maybe you don't have the proper shape. It's important with all these planes that they are the same dimensions as, you know, your standard piece of paper. So if you get something that's a little too big or a little too small, I mean, always try to see what you can make out of it. Maybe your plane will even fly better, but sometimes you'll get a piece of paper that is just a little too long to make anything super interesting out of. And that is when you say, I'm gonna make a helicopter out of it. So we want a piece of paper that is about half the width. So this is good for a nice long piece of paper. So we're gonna cut this one in half, and you can make 2 helicopters if you're doing this at home. So you get your long strip of paper here, and first thing you're gonna do, you will need scissors for this one. You're gonna make just a few strategic cuts. So first of all, you're gonna make a snip right about the halfway point of the plane, and you're gonna make a snip on both sides, and that snip should go about 1/3 of the way in. I'm gonna make this one a little longer. There you go. And then you're gonna wanna make a snip about, I'd say, 2/3 of the way from the center to the end. So maybe about here. You know, one little snip should be the same size as the snip you did up there. Snip, snip. All right, and then one last snip. You are going to, the part that you didn't snip up here, you're gonna cut it right down the middle, not all the way to the bottom. You're gonna go about 2/3 of the way down. So you should have a snip, a snip, a snip, a snip, and a longer snip right here. So that is your start of your helicopter. First thing you're gonna do, take this little piece, fold it over. Second thing you're gonna do, take this little piece, fold it over. That's kind of makes kind of a neck. And you go to your bottom here, this little rectangle that we have on the bottom. We're gonna fold it, do a rolling fold like we did on the UFO. So just fold it up as many times as possible. The idea here is to create weight because we want the bottom of your helicopter to be heavier than the top. Then, look, it's like a little bunny. I'm a little bunny, I'm a little bunny. So you're gonna take one bunny ear and you're gonna fold it down. Then you're gonna flip it over and fold your other bunny ear down. And these are your propellers. And that's it. So the point of this is if you drop this from a high height, it will spin and gently guide its way to the ground. All right, folks, that's the end of our episode this week. We made a bunch of cool things that you can fly around in the air. Just a reminder, when you're done with your paper airplane, please recycle it. It should come from the recycling bin, return to the recycling bin once you're done with it. But of course, you can always just decorate them and make them yours forever. You could just keep them. That's good too. I told you a riddle at the beginning of this episode, and I was going to give you the answer. The riddle was, before Mount Everest discovered, what was the tallest mountain in the world? And the correct answer is Mount Everest. All right, next week, we're going to, what are we doing next week? Okay, next week, we're going to get super duper fancy. We're going to make the double diamond diver, which is a plane I just named just now. That's what it's called because it's got 2 diamonds on the front and it looks real cool. We're going to make a little origami space shuttle, and we're going to make a balloon. We're going to make a balloon out of paper. It's one of my favorite things to do. So tune in next week. We'll see you then. This is Matt. This is Camp Stevens, Lake of the Woods. We're on an island. How did we get here? We'll see you later.